Hey everybody, and welcome to the Midnight Frightcast, episode 9. This is Patrick, your host for the evening, and joining me in the basement studio is Josh.
Almost to double digits.
And joining us on a Radio Shack Audio Technic walkie-talkie from the 1984 is Greg. Say hello, Greg.
Breaker 112. This is Greg from the Radio Shack, not the store, but an actual shack with a radio. Over.
All right. Hey, it's been a couple weeks since we met. We've been a little busy. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've done or what we've seen over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about a little movie called The Monster.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to go into talking about some best surprise plot twists in horror movies that we each one of us is going to give our, I don't know, I wrote down like 7 of them. I'm sure Josh only wrote down 2.
Yeah, I wrote down a couple.
Yeah, see, that we know that's how the formula works around here. So we're going to start off with the, what have you been watching or doing since the last podcast?
Hey, are we going to pick on Greg tonight, or does somebody else want to go first?
No, I think we're picking on Greg.
I would like to vote somebody else goes first because I'm looking up what I've been watching.
Yeah, I'll go.
Are you sure? Because otherwise I could, if you're still looking stuff up.
No, I was just looking up something for the monster.
Oh, all right. Well, then go right ahead.
I can't read my own handwriting. Watched. I continued my journey through the Halloween through the Halloween box set. So I knocked out Halloween 4 and 5.
You almost said Xbox.
I know, we were talking about Xbox earlier, so I caught myself. So I knocked out Halloween 4 and 5, which was the introduction of Jamie, which were, I think, the ones that she comes into, I think are some of my favorites. I knocked out those. Now I can't think of the damn actor's name, and she's like one of my favorites, and I can't think of her. The girl that played Jamie, I can't think of her name now. It's bugging the crap out of me. But
Jamie Lee Curtis?
No,
Jamie. Sorry,
Jamie.
Yeah.
Roy Strode daughter in 4 and 5. And now I can't think. I had it, and now I can't.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't think of her name either.
So that's gonna bother me. So that's a good start on the old Frightcast. So I knocked out those. I knocked out Wrong Turn 1 and 2. I just was like, I bought the double disc a while back, and I was just like, I was staring at it for a while, and then one night I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna bust them out. I'm gonna watch them both, and I might as well have watched The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2 because it's the same movie, but. And I remember like not liking these movies at all. And then I rewatched them. I'm like, they're not really that. I mean, they're bad, but they're not unwatchable. So Daniel Harris, God damn it, that was going to bother me.
I was just writing it down for you.
Yeah, Daniel Harris, who's like all over the place. So I watched those. And then Greg will be surprised to hear that I watched a documentary, I watched a non-horror film this week, a documentary called Be Here Now, which was about the original guy that played. I'm doing terribly on names tonight, so I said I'm #winning. The original actor, who I'm going to look up now, that played Andy Whitfield, that played Spartacus in the series. Did you watch that, Patrick?
I never got around to seeing the series. Okay. No,
it's super good. But the original guy that played Spartacus, after season 1. Between season 1 and 2, he got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he went through chemotherapy between season 1 and 2, went into remission, and then right before they were supposed to start shooting season 2, it came back. And they did this whole thing where they were waiting for him, so they did a prequel, and he never got better, and he ended up passing away. But it was his journey. He like documented his journey of starting... Of getting Spartacus and going through the motions and getting sick, and his journey through trying to get better and beat cancer. And it was like one of those movies that, Greg, we talked about doing a podcast where we were going to talk about movies that made you cry.
Yes.
Fucking baby at the end of this movie. Wow. It was crazy. And like, there's a song at the end of it during the credits that there's only one other movie that I was like pouring. And that was Philadelphia. the credit song at the end was just like a punch to the gut. But it's on Netflix. It's super good. And so I checked that out. I don't remember if I mentioned that I saw Get Out on the last podcast. So I think it was after the last podcast. My wife and I went and saw Get Out. And we're going to do a podcast on that. So I'm not going to talk about it too much other than it's freaking awesome. And then I wrapped my week up last night. I have a go-to movie when I don't have anything else to watch. And I watched the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which is one of my favorites. So that is what I have been watching.
All right, Greg, let's move on over to you then.
All right, I'm ready this time. I personally haven't been watching too much as I'd like to have been anyways. It's been a really busy last couple of weeks. Emily and I just finished watching Friends again on a loop. So that was about there. It's been a couple of years since I've actually watched the entire series, and I forget how much I love that series, but it's great to revisit and go back and have fun with your friends. So along with that, I've been watching NCIS. They've got all the seasons up on Netflix, and so during a certain time, which shall be unannounced, I go through episodes of NCIS and enjoy some really good police procedural type shows. So that's really about all that I've been watching. Other than that, I was part of that Ghost Hunter shoot last weekend, looking to finish this weekend. We had a great time, one of the best shoots I've been a part of. Really excited to see how this is going to come together. So that's really about all that's been on my book.
All right. Well, I'm going to segue into what I was doing since the last podcast, because having directed, or in the middle of directing, Ghost Hunters for this group, I pretty much had my nose down in the notebook trying to figure out what I wanted to do, putting together shot lists and everything else for it. And then this past weekend, you always want things to go extremely smooth. We had a couple of hangups, but still, I think this is one of the best projects we've worked on together. In the past 2 years. Things went pretty smooth. Yes, we did get stuck in an elevator for a little while.
Yes.
That one was not our fault.
That was not our fault. The belt fell off the drum on the mechanics of the whole thing. We're stuck. It wasn't too long, though. It was only about, a half hour at most?
Half hour, 20 minutes,
yes,
half
we
hour.
bonded.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, we all bonded. I thought Mark was going to actually shit himself, though. He was getting pretty worked up.
Yeah, he wanted off that elevator.
But no, I worked with some really great people, working with some new talent this time. A couple people I've never worked with before, in that sense. And we'll be following this up with another podcast where it's just going to be us and the cast, or at least the main member of the cast, Andrea Erickson. I'm going to give a quick shout out to her because she did such a terrific job this last weekend that, we saw her in a couple of things last year at Prairie Lights Film Festival. I got to see her working on Corruptor with Unfiltered Entertainment. And once we read the script, I said, this is who I want for this. And I was very happy that she accepted the role and we were able to work it out. I'm glad that we're giving ourselves enough time to get this movie finished before Prairie Lights Film Festival, because there's some technical aspects of it that we really got to take care of. So we're finishing that up this weekend. But I just got to say that I was really proud of what we did this last weekend, regardless of what the end product is. I think that we did some really nice filming. Yeah, we created art this last weekend, so I'm really looking forward to this project.
I think easily from the beginning of Midnight Frights, this was easily the best shoot we had. Definitely the most organized, but the best looking, I think, shoot we've done. Yeah.
And especially on our equipment, we don't have top of the line equipment, and we still manage to do some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. I'm sure I watched a movie in there somewhere, but I just, when you get things going on, you just can't remember crap like that.
I think this is the first time we've gotten on the Frightcast and talked about what we've been watching. And I had the most.
Oh,
I had the biggest list. I usually have I watched 2 things and Greg watched 15.
Right.
This week it was I won out. So.
Yeah. No, I think the most I watched was probably episodes of Cops because it happened to be on while I was working on other
Yeah.
things. But I did watch one movie, and that movie was The Monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the movie we're going to be discussing tonight. And so I'm gonna give the synopsis here real quick, as we always do, and give some ratings. All right, The Monster. A divorced mother and her headstrong daughter must make an emergency late-night road trip to see the girl's father. As they drive through deserted country roads on a stormy night, they suddenly have a startling collision that leaves them shaken but not seriously hurt. Their car, however, is dead, and as they try in vain to get help, they come to realize they are not alone on these desolate back roads. A terrifying evil is lurking in the surrounding woods, intent on never letting them leave. Tomato meter, 78%. Audience rating, 39%. IMDb, 5.3. Metascore, 69%. For an overall average of 60%.
I think it's low. Anybody want to comment on the percentage first?
I think it depends on how you view the movie. If you're looking at this movie as a pure horror film, I think it's probably about right. If you're looking at this movie at what it truly is, I think it's low.
Yeah. Okay. And I did watch it from the horror perspective. Well, no, I went in there with the intention of watching it from the horror perspective, just because based on who the director is also, because Brian Bertino directed this.
Yep.
He directed one of my favorite films like ever. It's another go-to film. He directed The Strangers, and then he directed Mockingbird, which I have not seen. Did you watch Mockingbird?
I have not seen it.
Okay, for some reason I thought you watched Mockingbird. But those were his two first outings before he took on...
Wait, Mockingbird. Is that with the clown?
Yeah.
Yes, the three different stories tied together.
Yeah.
Right.
You talked about that, right?
Yeah, okay. I did like that one.
So those were his first two outings before he got in and did The Monster. I'm just going to go real quick, just out of the gate. Comments. Two fairly unknown actresses. I didn't know them from a lot of things. Zoe Kazan, she was in Savages with Philip Seymour Hoffman. And then the young girl, Ella Ballantine, didn't really have too many credits to her name. But they were fantastic. And this was just from a production standpoint. I talk a lot about, and going to just back to Ghost Hunters too, we talk a little bit about as a micro budget filmmaker, small cast, single location is like I think gold standard you can have as a micro budget filmmaker. And that's what this was. And I thought, as long as they had a great story, and I thought they did, this kind of thing works.
Right, because they basically had two locations. They had the roadside with a few cars.
Yep.
And then they had the house.
The house, yeah.
And that was it.
So who thought... So we talked about a little bit about this before, but so they do a lot of flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the real monster, I said this last time, the real monster in this movie was alcoholism. There is an actual monster in this movie, but they do a lot of back and forth stuff in the movie, and they focus a lot on the mother's alcoholism and how she becomes kind of a monster when she drinks.
I don't necessarily think that, she was the monster, but alcoholism in itself was the monster.
Yeah.
I really believe that the creature was a metaphor in this movie, so that's why I was saying that if you go into it thinking that it's a pure horror movie, you're not going to like all the cut scenes, the flashbacks and stuff like that, because it doesn't help that part of the story.
Not at all.
But it helps the character development.
Exactly. Which some people apparently don't like character development.
They really don't like that. We learned that with a review this last couple of days.
But some people complain that there was no character development, and then some people go, there was too much.
So just from the energy at the table, I'm thinking Josh and I like this movie, and we haven't quite heard from Greg yet. So, Greg?
Greg says the movie was good. I'm gonna follow the path of the character development was good, but it really took me out of what I felt was the meat of the movie. I really wish that they would have done the scenes where the mom and the boyfriend are yelling and screaming at the young girl I really wish they would have done that a little bit differently, just because I was pulled so far out of that film when those things came out that the movie felt like it was a drama and a horror movie, and you're basically trying to put oil and water and mesh them together. And I think that was the hardest thing that I had with this entire film was I would get into the scenes where they're stuck in the car and there's something out there that's hunting and stalking them. And all of a sudden we're going to flash back to, oh, mom needs a bottle of vodka, but she's not going to get it. But her daughter's going to run out to the trash can and find an empty bottle of vodka or a secret bottle of vodka or whatever that was. That was that movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you did hit on a point there. It was my second bullet point that says, to me, this was more of a drama with horror elements.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you just said.
Right. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. And the drama part of it didn't do much for me. I felt like if the movie was, but if it could kind of turn which way it was going to go, if it was more drama, I think it would have been on the right track. However, if it would have been more horror and stayed on the horror path, I think it did well with what it was trying to do on that end. I think the best thing that the movie has going for it, just kind of on the surface level, I know you guys talked about alcoholism being the monster.
Yeah.
The actual monster in the film, I loved the entire setup of it. I felt like it was that slow pot boil setup to really bring the monster about. You show how ferocious and how terrifying it is, and you don't really get to see much of it except for little silhouettes and little hints in here and there. And it was almost to a point where I was hoping that there was a few more kills just to kind of see how much more intense this thing could get. But I think that was probably the best thing that the movie actually had going for it, which solid work on the title, just changed the story a little bit.
The practical effects too, it was all practical. They built that monster,
was huge, yes.
Right.
No CGI, so that was nice too. But to me, the back and forth worked, and for this, it doesn't usually work. I don't think in horror films. To me, it worked in this movie a little bit as a redemption for the mother, as far as like we show how big of a problem she had, and then what she does, the sacrifice she makes at the end of the movie for her daughter. And that's a little bit of a redemption for me. I don't think that would have been as big if you didn't have this part over here.
Right. And not only her sacrificing herself, they were able to put in a scene in there prior to that scene where they were laying underneath the covers or under a tent. I can't remember what it was, but they,
Yep.
And she, even though they were not connecting, they did connect, and she was able to say how much she loved her and everything else. And I it almost seemed like the cutscenes, the flashbacks, whatever, was setting up what was happening next. I mean, because it was almost parallel the entire time. Something would happen in their real life, and then something would happen in this creature life, in reality type thing.
Yeah. So I mean, you're right, Greg. As far as like it will take me out of that. Like that kind of thing will take me out of a movie if it continuously happens. For this movie, for me, it worked in breaking up.
It was a little bit like the last movie that we watched, Frailty, where there was the constant jumping back and forth between the flashbacks and that, and it was rough, a little bit of a rough cut. So
and a lot of the reviews that I read, that was probably the biggest con to the show, was that they just didn't like the flashbacks and things like that. And I think, but once again, I think it's how you approach the movie itself.
Yeah.
And if you're approaching it from a horror aspect, of course, you're not going to like that.
Yeah. If you just want straight blood, kills, and just mayhem, this is not your movie.
No, you can cut out all the rest of those scenes and you have a nice short.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's
a slow burn film, which is awesome. I think that's one of the best type of horror films is the slow burns.
Speaking of slow burn, I love the music. It kept everything going here. It was like the solo piano over the synthesized monotone. It just really kept that suspense, that tension going throughout this thing.
Yep.
I listened to it with my headphones on, so I was able to hear like every subtle creature sound and everything else. I just think that the sound editing on this movie was really good. They did a really good job with that.
Says that makes or breaks your movie.
It sure does.
So, yeah, I mean, I give Monster a giant thumbs up. I didn't know what to expect when I picked it up, but that's a rewatchable movie for me. So
cinematography wise, I thought the pictures
Great.
were really good.
Oh, beautiful.
I wrote down that I wish I had his equipment because I mean they were shooting in almost complete darkness. It was like
darkness,
it was like the headlights. It was
rain.
Rain.
They were throwing lights through.
There was a light from the top of the tow truck and then the ambulance lights. And they basically had no lights whatsoever, but they got beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pictures from this show.
And I always liked the light through the rain stuff. I always think that's,
a couple nice jump scares.
Yeah.
I mean, but it didn't rely on it.
Yeah.
The only one I can really remember right now is the arm falling onto the hood of the car. Are we giving spoilers? This was a 2016 movie.
Well, we just did.
We just did.
We didn't give the end away, though.
No.
Kind of. Not really.
Kind of. Kind of we did.
Spoil it.
Oops.
Well, we've ruined that. So.
And acting wise, I thought the mother and the daughter were really, really good, especially the girl. And it kind of had flashbacks of Dakota Fanning for me just a little bit. Just having a young person who can understand relationships and understand how to really communicate that with the other person. And I didn't know if it was a matter of the roles fitting the actors well or the actors being able to fit those roles well. But they had really good chemistry.
Yeah. They fit together really well. I think they worked a lot on that before they actually started filming. They hung out a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of kind of
bonding
time before they shot, so they could get that connection on screen, and I think that helped quite a bit.
Yeah, one of the scenes that really solidified the relationship between the two of them for me was when they're standing in the garage. And the mother's the mother's just saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Yeah. Rough, definitely an incredibly rough scene. Yeah. And the daughter's like, you can't say that to me. You can't say that to me. And the mom leaves and then the daughter just screams it at her.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, that was, it really said what that relationship was right then and there. A lot of people panned the writing on it, but I think he was able to take a very simple plot idea and make it into something more than what it was.
Again, if we're getting reviews from horror film fans, I would never say they're wrong because your opinion is your opinion. Mm-hmm. But like you said out of the gate, if you're watching this as a horror film fan, then it's not going to be your cup of tea.
Right.
If you don't want to care about characters, then this is the wrong movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably why there was such a disparity on Rotten Tomatoes, where the critics were giving it almost 80%.
Yeah.
And it was cut in half by the audience.
Yeah.
That I think the audience was expecting horror. I mean, you go to a movie that's named The Monster.
And look at the movie cover, too.
And you look at the cover, which has the silhouette of the monster.
You're not getting fluffy bunnies and kittens.
Right.
No.
Right. And, it ended up being a lot about the relationship and less about the creature. So, I think that was probably part of the reason for the scoring that it gets.
Yeah.
So last thoughts, thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you recommend it to a friend?
Out of 10, Greg.
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6.
Okay.
I think it's a one-time watchable. I feel like they couldn't decide if they wanted it to be drama or horror, and that really just kind of took you out of it. But if you go in with an open mind and you're looking for some good horror shots, I think you'll get them. So I'll give it a 6.
Cool. Patrick, out of 10.
I will give it an 8. However, I do agree that with Greg that it is probably a one-time watch. And as a filmmaker or an aspiring filmmaker or whatever I consider myself at this point,
filmmaker.
I am a filmmaker. I've made a film. It is something I would probably go back and look at because of the cinematography. We've all agreed that the cinematography in this is really, really good. And I think he's built up tension really, really well. So I think this is something I will probably revisit, but I don't know that other people will. So I'm going 8 out of 10.
I'm going to ride the middle. I'm going to go 7. And for me, it's going to sit on my shelf, but it will be I'll totally rewatch that movie. So 7 for me.
All right.
Cool.
And I definitely will recommend it to other people.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got another movie in the bag. So let's move on to our next section, which is This one was kind of tough for me because I can only think of like one or two, and I kind of had to go to the internet to remember some of
You're
these
not alone.
things. So
The internet.
the internet, the interwebs. But we wanted to discuss the best surprise plot twists in horror movies that we can remember from growing up in our past, or anything that we've seen recently, or anything like that. So Josh went first last time, so I think Greg's going to go first now.
And he's prepared.
All right, excellent.
All right.
Let's see how many he knocks off our list, Patrick.
Exactly.
I've only got 5 listed on here, so you're safe.
I've got 8. Josh had 3.
Josh probably
I've got 6.
Oh, he's got 6.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Get your heart out. I got 6.
I bet one of them is on every one of our lists.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, there easily has to be. I too, Patrick, went onto the interwebs because I knew of a couple, but I wanted to make sure I got all the ones that I wanted to put on there. I also didn't know if I was going to be going first or last, so I wanted to make sure I had something to talk about.
Oh, there you go.
So, one of the first ones that I have on here is the movie Psycho. And I think it's probably one of the epitome.
Here we go,
guys.
checking them off.
Checking them off.
It's probably one of the highest, best film twists in cinematic history. I mean,
It's probably definitely one of the earliest.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know that I can say too much more about it, because if you don't know Psycho, what rock are you living under? Following that.
Oh yeah, we should probably say, do we say these what the twist is? I mean,
some of these, there's no way I would say what the twist is because they're new.
Okay.
And then
I think all of mine are old enough.
But Psycho, if you want to say the twist, go to.
It's a classic. It's a classic movie.
Yeah.
They said if you don't know Psycho, go watch a movie or something.
Yeah.
Let's not give that one away, because if you haven't seen Psycho, you should see Psycho.
You should see Psycho. You should see the Vincent D'Onofrio Psycho.
No.
Vincent Vaughn Psycho.
Vincent Vaughn.
I was
no,
going to say,
no.
Doctor never did
It is
that.
the better of the two.
It is not
I
in
know.
any way, shape, or form.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Fun fact: I wasn't a fan of either side.
A shot for shot shit fest.
Yeah.
Next on my list was a movie that I've been needing to go back and rewatch, because the first time I saw it, it was so hyped for me that it was kind of ruined. And that movie was Saw.
Damn it.
You motherfucker.
God.
We knew this was coming.
Wait, yeah.
When I went and saw this movie, everybody was out there telling me, you have to go see Saw. It's a great horror movie. You got to go see it. I went and saw it, and my mind was just expecting amazing, absolutely amazing, and I was flattened by it. I did not think it was as good as it was going to be. I was also not as into film as I am now, so it's been on my list. I need to go back. I need to rewatch it, because it is, I consider it horror classic material.
It's a holy shit kind of twist.
Right, and that's why I put it on there, because I remember when the end scene came and what happened. Do we say it or not?
Oh, go ahead. It's old enough. Yeah.
It's old enough.
2004.
Over 10 years, we're safe.
I think.
When
3?
the guy got up who you thought was dead, I had no idea. I was completely blown away by that. And so that to me it's a memorable thing and should be on the list of best horror twists. Following that up, I'm actually going to follow it with a movie that I have never seen. I'm only doing this because I'm several miles away and can't be beaten down by either of you guys.
Jerk.
The movie is Seven.
Oh,
okay.
That's not on my list.
No, not on my list at all.
I don't know if you can consider it horror. I think it walks
Yeah,
that.
I think you definitely could.
It rides that line.
Rides that line.
I haven't seen it in its entirety. I've seen the final scene. And so that was why I put it on the list, was because of that scene. And I thought how they worked everything together to that culmination was an awesome idea for a twist.
That was the first movie I ever watched that I felt like I needed to take a shower after watching.
Yeah.
So, this next movie, I hated this movie, but I wanted to put it on here because of the surprise ending that made me laugh. That movie was 2007's The Mist.
Okay, that's not on my list either.
Okay.
So,
Have
I
you
didn't
seen
go
it?
to the internet though, so There's some clearly I'm gonna miss.
I wrote that one down thinking that I would have to have one that maybe you didn't, and then I just now scratched it off after having written it down.
My bad. No, the movie wasn't really one of my favorites. It had the makings of a good horror film, but again, I included it because the ending was funny to me. How stupid it was. 2007 is 2017. Yeah, fuck it, we'll spoil it. When the main character, I don't remember his name or who he played or who played him.
Thomas Jane.
Was it Thomas Jane?
Yes.
Oh, okay, nice. When he offed the people in the car, including his son, had he not just waited that extra 30 seconds or 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever it was to realize, oh, everything's going to be okay. It was funny because it's like, how fucking stupid are you?
Now, Frank Darabont took a pay cut for that ending.
Really?
He took a pay cut and fought for that ending. He said the only way, he said, I want, this is the ending, that it has to be this ending. You can cut my pay and let me have it. But it has to be this ending because the ending is different in the story.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was based on a Stephen King novel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what was the end of the story then?
I honestly have never read it, so I don't know the original ending.
It has been probably 2 decades, 3 decades since I've read that short story.
But it's different, and he fought hard for that.
Yeah,
for that ending.
Which seems weird coming from Frank Darabont. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but. To each his own. So, yeah, I know you got to suspend disbelief in movies, but that was one of those like, come on, really? So I threw that on there. I also want to give honorable mention to the movie The Village, which I absolutely hated because of the twist. I was ready to hunt M. Night Shyamalan down and punch him in the throat for that ending.
I'm right there with you.
So,
I like
last but not least, and I know it's going to be on both your lists, was the movie The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
No, I have not seen that, so do not give out the ending.
I swear to God.
Don't. Just don't. Just don't.
I'm out.
I will say that though, we weren't able to see it until like it was almost out of theaters, and nobody said anything to me. That was probably one of the best kept secrets of movie history.
Wow,
that's for me personally. So yeah, it did come as a total shock to me.
I mean, did you normally have people that would tell you endings of stories or things like that? Because that movie came out in '99.
Well, I had a friend that spoiled the ending of Logan for me, and I haven't seen that yet. So
I did no such thing.
Not you.
Okay.
It was another person. So I do have people in my life that assholes and do that.
Yeah.
But see, this came out in '99, and I don't remember there being as much fandom and the internet and stuff like that.
Right.
So that helped.
No, that one completely caught me off guard. So
right.
Josh, what if we like go back and forth, because we'll probably knock a couple off of each other's, and I don't want to leave like one of us with just one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, since Greg took these two, I'm just going to throw it out there. M. Night Shyamalan is the king of the horror twist. So he is the guy if you're looking for a horror twist. I'm not saying the great horror twist, Greg. I see that smile on your face. We can knock it off right now. M. Night Shyamalan is the king of the horror twist. Okay?
I would still use king lightly.
Well, I'm going to say king, and I'll tell you why. Because you mentioned The Sixth Sense, which is one of the greatest plot twists in horror films ever.
I will give
you
The Village.
That. You also mentioned The Village.
The Village he dropped. And if you have not seen Split, you need to go see Split.
I know I need to.
Because M. Night Shyamalan is back with that movie.
I don't know. I don't know if it was so much a twist.
But there is a nice little
There's a surprise.
Yeah. But I'm going to count that.
Okay.
So M. Night Shyamalan. Okay,
so along with the 2, maybe 3 good ones, because I've never seen Unbreakable, but I've heard that's a decent one.
I'm going to throw up. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got 2 decent ones with Split and Sixth Sense.
If you're talking a horror twist, now I liked Lady in the Water. I was a fan of that movie. There's no twist in it, but I'm a fan of that movie.
Okay. The Awakening, god awful. The Village, god awful. Devil, decent but not great.
Devil was watchable.
Avatar.
The
Last Airbender.
Last Airbender, yeah.
Oh yeah. Good
Avatar:
call.
The Last Airbender. Remember that twist at the end
I'm
where
thinking, when did he
people
do
thought
that?
it was good?
Yeah, I just give that one. But yes,
So-
I will give the king his crown and
He's-
just drop M. Night Shyamalan as
He's got a giant
plot
hole he's
twist
digging
king.
himself out of.
I almost said a really, really dirty word on this. Did you catch it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you're gonna catch it in the edit.
Okay,
'cause
probably.
It would have been that would have been bad if I would have finished that
I'll
word.
have to put a beep in there or something. No, Greg, I think you'll really like Split.
I've heard good things about it, and I really do want to see it, but I'm still gun shy anytime M. Night Shyamalan comes out with something new.
Go,
All right.
Patrick. Good.
I'm going to throw The Ring out there because she's doing all these things thinking that Samara has been treated horribly, and every horror film where you're dealing with ghosts or whatever spirits that something bad has happened to them, you bring them peace and then everything's
They
good.
leave you alone. Yeah.
Okay, she thought she was bringing this young girl peace, and then you realize she just released the most evil in the world
Yeah.
at it. And to me, that was a twist because
The Ring, you said?
The Ring.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I would have never even thought about that.
Yeah,
movie on the
because to me I never thought of that, because here she's going along, oh, okay, here's the end of the movie. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Okay. I got
Wow,
you.
this chick is evil.
And Rings too.
Do you want to get haunted?
The
Because
Rings
that's how
in
you
there.
get haunted.
Yeah.
Rings had a great plot twist at the end. I thought. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And also the end of The Ring is it passes it on. Someone puts that tape somewhere he puts the tape in the middle of the video store and it's like, oh. So
that was a smart way to. That was a smart
way
marketing move.
exactly to build
To go,
up
well, if
your.
we want to make more,
Yeah.
this is how it can keep going.
Yeah.
Greg said Saw, so I'm gonna let that one go for the most part. But that was a moment where I stood up in the theater and it was like, holy shit. So I'm glad we put the explicit content thing on.
Oh
this
yeah.
Because my language, I just can't control it.
I think Greg and I have
apologize.
been dropping F-bombs this entire time.
Oh, well,
so.
good for you
Fuck
guys.
Yeah, see, there we go.
But Saw was definitely like, oh my god, like
Mhm.
it was. I loved it. So beginning, middle, end, and every time I watch that movie, it's just like perfection for me. So, but a movie that has not been mentioned, and I only have two left. So, High Tension. Anybody seen High Tension?
You loaned it to me, and I've yet to watch it.
Oh, have you seen High
I
Tension?
don't believe I have.
I'll give it to you.
All
It's
right.
super good. The whole movie, you think, just this is happening, and I don't want to drop anything because you guys haven't seen it, but you get to the end, and it just like, I don't think you see it coming. I'm a big fan of that movie. It is a foreign film, but it does have English subtitles on, or it's redubbed in English. Great movie, High Tension. Check it out. Great plot twist. So that's my next one.
I'm going to throw out there Angel Heart.
I have not seen that movie.
Really?
De Niro? De Niro,
Mickey
right?
Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
And De Niro. De Niro's in
Oh,
it.
De Niro's in it. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Mickey Rourke's the main character. De Niro
Okay.
plays the devil,
Okay, yeah.
so to speak. But at the end, you find out that it's the same person.
Okay.
And I just spoiled it for you.
Yeah, you did, because I would have checked
I
it
just
out.
I just said that, and I'm looking at you going, "Oh crap!"
You looked
Did you see? Did you
at
see?
me,
Did you
like,
see the
dead
look?
in the
Did you see
eye.
the look of my eyes
Yeah.
going, "Oh shit! I just gave
Just
that
so
away."
you know,
to you.
it's the
So-
exact same person.
So, so Josh, you don't have to watch that movie now, unless you want to see some incredible Lisa Bonet scenes.
Sure.
Yeah,
Angel Heart, Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
She was from Cosby, right?
she was from Cosby, and that's
Yeah.
why she was not on Cosby
Wasn't
for a
she
while.
married to Lenny Kravitz for a while?
I don't know.
No, I think she was.
Yeah, no, she got booted off that show because she did Angel Heart with the sex scenes and all the
Yep.
other stuff.
Yeah, Angel Heart.
Angel
She
I'm
wasn't
not
wholesome
going to write
anymore.
that one down.
Yeah. So I will publicly apologize on air here for giving away that when you said
Sorry.
I need to catch that, and I went,
Yeah.
"Oh crap!"
It's a big giant.
By the
play.
way, let me
Fuck
tell you. Let me tell you about Logan.
Let's not, because I'm going to see that Monday. For sure, 100%. I'm seeing that
Hey,
Monday.
Josh. In Titanic, the boat sinks.
You fucker.
You know, if you watch Titanic backwards, it's about a magical boat that saves a bunch of people.
Yeah. And I think Titanic has the greatest plot twist ever. So, My last one, my very last one, and again, one of my favorite movies. It's a go-to movie for me, and I think the greatest plot twist, minus the Shyamalan stuff on my list, is Primal Fear with Richard Gere and Edward Norton. Anybody see it?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen Primal Fear?
I have not.
Have you seen Primal Fear?
It sounds familiar.
It's Richard Gere plays the lawyer that defends. It's like Edward Norton's first movie.
Right. Yes.
He defends Edward Norton's character,
Yep.
and it gets all the way to the end, and you're like, Greg, I'll give you Primal Fear too, man, because I hope you have a VCR though, because that's all I got. I got it on VHS.
I have a 13-inch VCR TV combo.
Yeah, it's worth it. You should. Yeah,
you can fit that under your desk at work. Can't you?
Yeah.
I could.
It's totally appropriate for work too. Primal Fear's got a great plot twist.
Okay.
It's not going to be as bad as some that I've watched.
No, it's actually a really, not only a great plot twist, but a really good movie altogether. So Primal Fear is the last one on my list.
I've got two more to add. One of them is a John Cusack movie, Identity.
It was great.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I did like.
Identity's
great.
Yep, because you think all these people are real, and it ends up it's not so much real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to give a spoiler on that one because we all agree that's a good movie, and maybe people should go see that one. And my last one is Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that is a good.
Because
twist.
you expect someone's been doing the killing all the way along, and it ends up not being that person.
Yeah. You know what?
Mommy.
It's Jason's
Mommy.
mom.
Jason's mom.
Spoiler alert.
I can say if you have not
Jason's
seen
mom.
Friday the 13th.
So.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, I mean, that's my list. I had a couple more, but they're so obscure I don't even want to talk about them.
Yeah. And the reason I bring up the topic, because we try to think of a topic every week, is I write, and and Greg knows this too, like every time I write something new, I like to try to put something at the end of it that just makes it go the other way. Greg knows I do it all the time. I never let the protagonist win. It's just something that I like to do. So I'm a huge fan of movies with plot twists that you don't see coming.
Right.
Those are my favorite horror films that are out there.
Well, and I think that's what intrigued me with what we just did this last weekend.
Yeah, which is very true. We have one of this. Yeah, we definitely have one of those.
So let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
No.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Here it
alert.
comes. No.
All right. Well, I think we're about the time to start wrapping this up. So are we going to pimp out anything here?
Greg plugs.
If you want to see what I've been up to, which hasn't been much recently, go to gregthemovieguy.blogspot.com. Got a plethora of movie reviews on there for you to check out. I'm hoping to get some new ones up there. I've got a list of movies that are in theaters now that I want to go check out. We'll see if that happens this weekend. Otherwise, there's other movies in there to read. Go check them out. You can also check out the Midnight Fright's Instagram at Midnight Fright Films. We have a bunch of new pictures loaded up on there from our shoot this weekend. Definitely check that out. Like them, comment on them. Tell us how awesome we are because we love hearing that. Go.
Yeah, you can also find us on Facebook at Midnight Fright Films. The Midnight Frightcast that could definitely use some love on that page. And if nothing else, go visit us at midnightfrightfilms.com. You will see all those stills that Greg was talking about as well on the website, as well as a new blog that Patrick has posted. And you can there's a spot on there, I believe, that you can add comments, right?
No.
We do not have a comment section.
We do not have a comment section on that one.
I thought there was, so I lied. Do not go to our comment section because it doesn't exist. If it existed, I'd say, hey, why don't you add your favorite horror twist movies?
Right.
And let us know what your favorite horror twist movies are. But it doesn't exist, so don't do that.
Sometimes I'm afraid what people might put on there to talk about us.
I would love to read that shit.
Oh, that's true. Maybe we should put that back on.
Yeah.
there. Just moderate it. All right. And then for me, like I said, we're wrapping up this weekend on a new short film called Ghost Hunter that's going to be playing at Prairie Lights Film Festival this October 20th. It's a little ways away.
Yeah. But we will be plugging that.
But we'll be plugging that several times
Quite a
over
bit.
the course of the next few months. So I just want to say one of our next podcasts is probably going to be featuring some of the cast members and crew members of Ghost Hunters. So we
Yep.
can talk about that. So we probably won't be covering a movie during that time except our own.
Yes.
Because that's going to take a while to discuss.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think I'm about ready to sign off. So this is Patrick
Josh?
and
Greg, the movie guy.
we're saying goodbye till next time. Peace out, Boy Scout.
Adios.